How about now? Yeah, wonderful. I totally didn't even think about the fact that literally everything on my machine has been reset because Windows decided to install something a couple of days ago. So, those of you watching the VOD, hopefully you've skipped ahead to the point where there's actual audio. Anyways, what I was saying is I'll try to get this up in a timely manner. I haven't gone through any of the comments or anything recently. Just been pretty slammed. If you watched the last VOD, you probably understand why. So one of the things that we've been doing is just going through a lot of planning with the new milestones in mind. And yeah. A lot of planning, a lot of getting caught up on stuff, getting people started on different work, and that was a lot of this week. So hopefully you guys were good. When did I stream? Sunday? I forget when I streamed last. Anyway. Let me make this bigger. Main Stark, Classic Cool, what's going on? Rascal Rooster, hello. Synthitic. Happy Sunday. Is it Sunday or Saturday? It's Saturday. Saturday, okay. I was like, yeah, I know it was Saturday because I was able to do like some noisy work in the garden. It's not allowed at our gardens on Sunday. So my day so far has consisted of getting up early, going down and helping lug gravel to fill in potholes along the roads of our garden community. So that's the first like real outdoor work I've done of the year, and I'm feeling it. So gonna stream for a little bit and then pop off, probably eat some pizza for dinner and then chill for the rest of the night. Hello, MMO Pug, a Phantom Ghost, 74 Gaming, Jibba Jabba, Magnus, Helter Smelter, Chaos, Kazrax, Tsunami-san, hello. What's up, Candyman? Hey, Squats, Craft, Red 6, hello. Hey, Magnus, Paranthia, Decent Milk. Hey, Octowisp. So, how was everybody's week? Hello, Nicodemus. Hello. Hello, Frags. Hello. I almost said hello, Frags. Hey, Comanche. Classic EverQuest said, OMG, a stream I can make. I wonder. Yeah, the streams are just going to be random. I think I'll try to get a bit of a schedule going, but there are so many times now where, because of the time zone difference, that if the team is available to do something like have one or two people hop in to discuss like planning or something like that, then that kind of takes priority in the evenings. Weather is great in Minnesota. What is that like? What's the weather in Minnesota right now? Hey, Arthax. $55? Yeah, that's about like here then. Which is, you know, if you're lugging gravel in a wheelbarrow, it's t-shirt weather. Lizzie Luck, hello. Raylene, Happy Face. Raziel. What's going on, guys? First time chat from the Miscellaneums. Good morning. Goretto, Toxins, Tim G. Todd. Hey, Death Rider. Garden work is my favorite kind of work, though. Definitely hard work, but it feels good. Yeah, it's nice. This time of year, you go in and you look, and everything's like overgrown, and it's kind of like, oh shit, got a lot of work to do. So it's nice to see that come together once the garden starts to live a little, look a little more like maintained. I was about to say lived in, but hey, half heresy injury. Lizzie Luck says my wife does all the gardening. I get to cook what they grow though. Fair. I do the bulk of the cooking as well. Hey, Viper. Got my name first time. Amazing. You'd be surprised at how many people say Hef Hershey. I try my darndest. It's tough sometimes with some of the names, but I take pride in trying to figure them out. And just as I say that, I look up and it's like, is that Penemu 93? You and a Risky Rex. Thanks for the follows. Squad said, I just watched the VOD of Zukin working on deep gnome textures models. Yeah, they're pretty cool, right? Let me know how the sound levels sound to you guys. I'm turning it down on my headphones, but I'm trying to make it so that you guys can hear it in the background. Colt1010 says, have you ever managed such a big team before, Loving Robot? Yeah. This is kind of a standard team size for smaller MMOs. So the last company I was at, I came in to be executive producer on a team that was about 40 people within a company of, I think at the time it was like 75 or something like that. And it was like a 30-something, 40-person team. And then quickly after my arrival, I wound up absorbing all of the other projects in the company, and we grew the company to about 130 by the time I left. So like product development, all product development fell under me, and I forget how many people that was at that time. But the difference is typically on those teams, there's a layer of leads and directors and stuff like that ultimately report up to me as either producer or executive producer. Or in this case, I was a chief product officer. Yeah, so about 40 people's pretty normal, like not direct reports, right? Because again, they have a management structure. But you know, a 40-person team being my responsibility has been fairly normal. For at least the last, whatever, like second half of my career, I guess. Now it's a much flatter structure than we typically have at other companies. Usually you'll have like I said, a lead over each department at a minimum, potentially a director. It's interesting because sometimes I see the feedback. You know, certain people will have feedback about like they forgot to say this, or somebody said that, or something was misstated, or like I said something that pissed somebody off or whatever, and they're like, this is why they need a director of communications at Niche Worlds Cult. Like, I don't think you know what kind of company we are. We're a We're an unfunded company composed of volunteers with an extremely flat structure where we don't have a management layer. So we don't have directors of nothing. Or I guess that's a double negative. We don't have directors. We don't have directors. But it's interesting to see companies that are smaller that, like indie teams. I've looked in the past and I've found it to be a curiosity. If you look at like an indie company and they've got director of this and director of that and chief this and lead that, and you know, if it's a team of 20 people and like 2/3 of them have a title that's like lead or director or whatever, I'm curious, but it's, you know, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just, for us, it hasn't seemed like it would make sense. Now, that's not to say that, you know, then you could easily respond and say, well, but if you had those things, then things would go differently or whatever. That's very possible, I guess. But, again, when the project is essentially people donating their time as they have time, then it can get interesting if then you've got like a reporting structure where you need, you know, to go through your boss to get a decision from one of us or whatever it is. Month out from new DCC, you ready? Yeah, we're excited about it. We're going right now during dinner and stuff like that, in our little bit of like together time. My wife and I are listening to all of the books again. Hey RNG, what's going on? Good morning, Buckwheat. I almost said buckwheat. Hey, Wind Bombs. Mr. Crab. Hey, Encrypt, what's going on? Just read book 1 of DCC, very hooked. It gets better. It just keeps getting better. A lot of first timers. Do you guys see that first time chat box as well? Is that for everybody? Liz Biscuits, what's going on? Just me? That's what I thought. Mr. Mischievous said, it seems like y'all are running very lean oriented. Yeah. We're trying something a little, I don't even want to say different. I'm sure it's fairly normal in certain circles. But the hope has been as much as possible to get people that really are able to be mostly self-managed and mature enough to do the things that we typically have to rely on a management layer to facilitate. So that's something, it's an ongoing project. I think if we were to bring a project manager into this situation, their brain would kind of melt a little bit. But we're working on that. We're working on that a bit. Trying to get everybody a little more comfortable and disciplined when it comes to like, you know, working through. We've got we use GitHub's project boards. Then we just get issues on there, and essentially we've got all of our milestones broken down in the board view, and so it's essentially these Kanbans, and you know, it allows us to kind of like at a minimum see projected out if all the big beats are covered, and then the reality is if people are volunteering, sometimes stuff gets done, sometimes it doesn't. That's kind of the reality, even if you're paying people. And and then if something slips into the next milestone, then we can talk about what is the trickle down effect on the rest of the milestones and all of that. Working to get a better release flow going, and we've got an addition on the QA side. Matt, comes from first half of his career was QA, second half is production, and so he's working with John NS to help us basically just tighten that loop up a bit better and ensure that the things that are going out in a release have been tested and are communicated. I think the communication part of it is something that we'll continue to iterate on and see if we can do that a bit better. Also, when we're doing our planning, we've just been really in the past, from week 1, basically, Ali had a working build up and running. And so it was just like, all right, we've got a playable build. Week 1, we've got a playable build, and we just keep adding shit to the game. We just kind of add stuff in and we go, right? And just kind of roll it out. And now we're hitting a point where we're still doing it, but we're going to be better off in the coming months of trying to package things up a bit tighter. And, if we roll out piece 1 of 4, it can create this perception of something's broken, or people see it and they think piece 1 is the only piece, and it's actually 4 things that we want to work in a combinatorial effect to produce a certain result. And we're like, no, there's other steps coming, so don't freak out yet. And so I think working to align those a bit better and get them packaged up and have more of the pieces, if not all the pieces, go out at once, so that it's all right, you kind of see the end result a little bit better. But I don't know, man. At the end of the day, we are what we are, and we'll try to improve. But the people that are, we appreciate people holding us to a very high standard, but we are what we are. We're gonna do shit the way it gets done a lot of times, so. Did you see that apparently they're making a DCC TV show? Seth MacFarlane's doing it. Yeah, I don't know why they would make it live action though. Why isn't that an animated series with Jeff Hayes doing all of the voices? That I just don't understand. But again, I'm doing to them what people do to us, right? It's why would they do that? They're dummies. So it's none of my business. I'll just wait, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I'll be like, no, I didn't enjoy that, and that'll be that. Hey, Acetune, and who else is snuck in here? Perez Dispenser, Warlock. There are a lot of people really want to get in and play, so you're doing good. Yeah, that part's been very cool. It's always a bummer that people are bummed if they can't get in. Hopefully more people are able to get in as we go because we have more time. So do I say hi to all the first time chatters? I try to say hi to as many people as possible, not just the first time chatters. Tragic. But there's more people these days, and it can take a while. I figured adding a management layer makes sense when there's a lot more money coming in and being spent. Helps manage risk as well. I'm torn on that one. I would say that if we had money coming in, then it might be easier to say, hey guys, as part of actually being paid now to to do this. You know, the expectation is that you do these pretty simple things to help us, you know, manage work, right? Because that's, you're either bringing people in to manage people, or you're bringing people in to provide certain expertise. And the expertise thing is one where it's like, you don't have to. It's not a requirement that someone does both, right? So, and a lot of times, if people can, there are a lot of experts that just don't want to manage people. So we want to facilitate that as well. Now, there are things like mentoring people and career development and all of that stuff that also, I think, by getting the right mix of people in, ideally it'll be something that's kind of shared between the team members. So, hey there. Yeah, you know, and the thing is, there's a lot of stuff that we are doing on this project that could just be wrong, right? But I think that's also the case with any project. But one of the things that I've wanted to do for a very long time on projects, as somebody that has been a producer since 2011, just wanted to see. I feel like a lot of times, places I've been, at least, we've brought in additional layers of management to kind of band-aid a problem, which was we maybe didn't have the right people on the team to begin with, right? So it's, the more we've got to babysit somebody, you know, the question is that somebody is that the goal of that team? It could be that the goal of the team is to bring people in that need a lot of like hand-holding, but the and the goal is to sort of like help maybe grow those individuals to require less hand-holding and stuff like that. But oftentimes that's not facilitated well enough, or it just doesn't work. Like, some people just don't step up, and so the team, you know, companies, I've seen companies, I've been at a few places now where the companies grow to, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 times their size, and they're not necessarily putting out 2 or 3 or 4 times the, you know, player facing value. So, you know, the idea is, get people in that are really wanting to grow and step up and learn, and then help those individuals grow. So, Co dropped some more nice words for Eminem today. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Agram. He's been very kind to us. It was one of those ones where when he came in and was playing earlier in the year, earlier in the year, then he reached out. I was like, we didn't think you liked us. It's like, we've been going for a little while now. We didn't think you liked us. He's you know, he said he was having a good time. We're excited about that. So, and we're sassy. In the past, we're like, somebody doesn't like us, we're like, all right, you want to fight? we're a very scrappy team, but no, it's awesome that Ko's been in and played and likes it. So, yeah, a lot of people have been very very cool to us. So it's interesting, the number of just kind of like, you know, people, especially from like the classic WoW community and things like that have reached out behind the scenes and like, hey, would it be cool if we play? And we're like, yeah, absolutely check it out. But like, we encourage people, especially people that are streamers or influencers or whatever you call them these days. Like, we're like, you don't have to say anything about us. You don't have to hype us. You don't have to stream us. Check it out. If you're having fun, then that's cool. And you know, like, you don't have to force us on an audience that isn't into it or ready for us. Like, we can be your side piece. We don't mind being your dirty little secret. Eminem, your dirty little secret. Is that the new tagline? Liz says, I feel that the castle has changed shape since the first instance. Yeah, it's changed a lot. It may, no, not may. This skyline will change again slightly. Because if you saw the actual, matter of fact, there might be a response from Rich on this one. Nice. Okay, he's stamped. Because we're doing a lot of design work in there now, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, but this is like, you know, this covers 30% of the dungeon. What are we thinking for the rest of the area? And then Jahar was like, that's a lot. That's not the whole dungeon, or that's less than half the dungeon. I'm like, yeah. And I sent some images over of like the dungeon, and he's just like, it's like awesome. It's this place is, well, in the tradition of Pattis the Ranger, who came in and blocked Fallen Watch out. It is a yeah, we don't know how to make a small zone. This is the Fallen Pass of dungeons. How many modules do you / the team think will be in 1.0? I could give you an exact count, but it might freak you out because then you're going to start doing math. I'd have to dig it up. But there's like, you know, I think you said 10 before, I forgot. 6, 7 at least. But the question for us that's coming up is very much going to be like, how do we tackle, assuming people play, assuming we have an audience. If we have a very tiny audience, it will take us longer to get to 1.0. If we have a decent sized audience and revenue coming in, then we can go a little bit faster, hopefully. And so we're working on like how to make that faster happen in the coming months. Essentially looking at how do we increase our capacity based on potential revenue scenarios. So, hey Opeth, you said hi when you came in earlier, and I saw it and I meant to respond, but I was probably babbling about something. Hey Criddle, what's going on? Said main game all day. We are not going to be your side piece. Chrono said, great to see you streaming this morning. How many more people do you plan to add over the next few months to help? For now, we're trying to keep it locked in. We've added in the last year, almost exactly in the last year, we've added 20 people to the team. So, you know, that took us from around 28 to around 48. The last, what is it now? The last 4 months, we've added 10 people. Now, that's primarily been on the GM side. So we now have 6 GMs. And we've added, so GMs and QA and additional, I think well, obviously in the last year with 20 people, we've covered the full gamut. Animators, VFX artists, designers. So I'm hip with the Gen Alpha. What did I say? Did I say 6.7 or something? Is it possible to see a start of the merch store prior to EA since it's now been pushed back? Holding back on buying cheap $2 coffee mug. We just feel... I don't know. It may be a topic that we bring up with you guys at some point and run a poll or something, but like we feel bad this, you know, if we take money, it'll turn into rug pull. And we, rather than rug pull, we'd much rather just retain the title of paid beta once we go into early access. Albear's 94. Ellis. Oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. Eliso Trev. Braxious Muse. Chrono. Thank you for the follows. Yeah, after losing the title of Vaporware, we're trying to just keep it within the paid beta realm. Keep doing what you're doing money-wise. Yeah, that's kind of been the thought. We should sell rugs. It's possible, man. The print-on-demand place that we're going to be using has all sorts of interesting stuff. Is it Alisotrev or is it Elisotrev? Said level 30 paladin looking for a group on the PvE beta server, just logging in. So definitely find them and play. Can you make a giant flashing warning? No guarantees. Project is indie. Might not make it. Only pay. We want to have that on the when you actually subscribe. That pops up. Lee Sotrev. Named after a city in SoCal. Paladin named Annie. Awesome. Thank you. On a serious note, would be cool if for sub-payment method you accepted PayPal. I believe we should be accepting PayPal. We'll be going through Stripe, and I think they accept a fair amount. Elron said, I see a lot of chatter on Reddit about downtime, regen rates, how much time is spent sitting around. How do you feel about the current state of the game in that regard? Is it where you want currently? Also, do you anticipate any increase to XP or other stuff to reduce the number of month 1 max levels at EA launch? So working backwards, there are a number of factors at play that will make the journey feel a little bit lengthier, but we're not trying to make it grindier necessarily. We're just trying to go in and hit a number of different things that just add a little bit of padding here and there overall, but we're going to be keeping an eye on it. We definitely want the journey to, yeah, I see that ogre flickering. We definitely want the journey to feel like epic and feel like a journey. In terms of regen rates and other stuff being where we want them to be, as a matter of fact, behind the scenes, one of the many discussions that are going on with Zilith and Jahar and Ali and Runaf, and naturally they're working tight, and I'm in there interjecting as well. They're working sort of tightly in a group, and then we roll this stuff out to the team and get their feedback. But there's a lot going on that front. So looking at some of that downtime, looking at various regen rates. So that's going to be a work in progress over the next several months for sure. Thanks, Sev. Any plans for more Dungeons and Dragons inspired content or systems? Are there any spells, items, abilities from your D&D adventures that you'd want to see in game? Now, like the game isn't being based on like any sort of, you know, existing campaign or whatever that, you know, at least from my end, the other designers and other people on the team contribute as well. And some of that may be where they get their stuff. But to answer your question, yeah, there'll be more quirky tabletop RPG feeling editions and things like that. Hey, Justin Beer, what's going on, my good friend? T-Poon, I have not been ignoring you this whole time. I've been reading your stuff and not responding. As I sort of ramble, I'll look up and read. So I am not ignoring you. I apologize. I've seen like 4 things from you now. Maybe I was answering your merch question? I did, because I do see, like, I do see some of the comments and stuff on Discord or whatever. You know, every once in a while I see some things where it's, I think you had just posted something about corpse recovery and wanting to maintain your gear so that you can fight alongside on the way back and stuff like that. And there are a lot of like AOA references, which I absolutely don't mind. I think it's a great game, but there are a lot of folks that are like, Adrelon does this. I wish they would do it. And it's like, but AOA already does it. You've got it. You've got these things. There are definitely some, you know, little things here and there that we're going to be changing over time that are, you know, like small. There are small things where we look around, we're like, hey, do we want this to change? Or we've had these discussions for 6 years or 5.5 years. So we're always looking at stuff, but yeah, it's funny because there's stuff that we've been talking about changing for 5 years, and then when we change it, they're like, they're caving into the pressure. And then there's other stuff that we've been talking about not changing for 5 years, and people are like, they just need to change this thing. It's just one of those funny things where you're kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. When you hit play in October, hopefully that's a fairly good representation of the decisions we've intended to make. T-Poon said, to be fair, you told us about AOA, so I had to check it out. No, it's here. Like, there's even a little, what do you call them? Is it a command? The bot should be working here. AOA. Yeah, there you go. It even has the old eco one, I think, still. No, it's a cool game, and it's, you know, it's easy to get into. It's very accessible. It's got a polished feel. I think Hidden Tree and the guys have done a fantastic job. And I would hope that if people don't like certain aspects of the feel of our game, that they check that out. And if they like it, then it's not a, well, see, those guys do it. It's more of a like, oh, this other game does the thing that I wanted. Cool, man. You know, we want to keep as many people in our community as possible, of course. We want people to love our game as much as we love it, of course. But the reality is that's not always going to be the case. And this isn't a zero-sum game, you know, like, it could be that it's a zero-sum in terms of we don't get your money, but some other team gets your money. But it's like there are other games out there. Check out Pantheon, and that feels different than the two of us. You know, go out and check out Project Gorgon. That's very different than the 3 games, you know, the 3 of us. You know, go out and check out Embers. That's also a different game. It's okay to be different. But, you know, and then there are things that we do and people, and we'll continue to try to improve like communication or the rollout so you see the intent on stuff. But then You know, then it's like the post of, is this the beginning of the end? They've added leashing to the game. Is this the beginning of the end? Like, we've been talking about making it so that the spider doesn't chase you from Vale of Zentar, along with everything else, all the way to the other side of Vale of Zentar for as long as there's been a Vale of Zentar. Now, Sand Giant, the giants may chase you forever. The skeletons may chase you forever. Undead may chase you forever, but not necessarily, you know, we'll have to look at it. But like the idea was we want to have extremely long leashes to be able to control that a little bit, because sometimes we look at it and we're like, does literally every mob in the city need to follow you over to this zone line? Maybe not. And so encounters were also meant to, certain encounters will have very short leashes because we don't necessarily want you training, you know, that piece of the encounter away. Everything else is going to feel the way it's felt. You know, you're still going to get the shit trained out of you in Wormsbane. You know, so it's a tool for us to get in and make sure that we've got things feeling right and going to the places we want them to go. And so, but naturally it goes in and it's like, is this the beginning of the end? And it's just like, I would hope not. And then it goes in and there's bugs. And so it's like, hey, but if you do this and jump, it resets the encounter. If you do this other thing, then, you know, we're noticing it's short. It's like, yeah, a lot of our stuff goes in a way where it's like pretty imperfect. And then we go in and we just, you know, we fix it as we go. So about those giants, currently many of them leash when you get 30 feet away from them. It's very buggy. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's going to be a theme for a while, is hopefully adding stuff in a less buggy way in the future. We'll be working with QA on that. But, I mean, at this point, go through the checklist of stuff that we've added over the years where it was like, well, that wasn't perfect when it went in. And so then the other piece of this is, and people are probably going to lose their shit a little bit when, you know, the various camps start having more mobs with abilities that mitigate movement. And so you're going to have more things chasing you that can like blast you in the back of the head with an arrow or a rock or an ability. You're going to have more things snaring you, more things potentially rooting you, more things, you know, stunning you from behind. And it's just going to be, and again, don't read that as a black and white thing. It's just putting more tools in there to, yeah, you know, having mobs charge and stun you, having things nuke you a bit better. So it's going to be this thing where we're trying to put various pieces in place to help us actually sit and tweak the feel more and more before early access. But, you know, invariably when we say, hey, like, mobs will have movement mitigation abilities in this next update, then it'll be a thing where there's a bit of like, are we not going to be able to move ever again? And then we've got to get everybody calmed down. Have you considered adding a known issues section to Discord? There is a known issues section on the website that we need to use better. So if you go to the community hub, right here in the middle, it says known issues. Good reminder. Got to remind the QA guys that we could be using this more. It's searchable. It's sortable. Were you as surprised as I was about the jump change backlash? No. That was one of those ones where it's part of the multiple pieces of things. The multiple pieces all going in to try to make the game feel a bit more dangerous and have people's roles matter a bit more, and deal with some of the fact that you can, you know, again, movement abilities have a huge impact on you know, that sense, that feel of danger, etc. So it's like one of, like I said, one of 4 or 5 pieces that's going in. And you know, when it just kind of went in by itself, it was like uproar. But it was funny, I did see a number of people that were pretty upset about it the night of the update come in the next day and be like, hey, actually I played it, feels great. So what you said about not copying other games is understandable. If you get your inspiration from another game, though, it's not bad. No, we get our inspiration from a ton of games. We've been pulling, like, we pull all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and there was some discussion about, like, should it be called beta, should it be called alpha, should it be called, and it's just, we're just going to kind of call it the thing that we're calling it, and we'll do our best to continue to explain to people, like, explain to people, you know, who we are, why things are in the state they're in, where we're headed. Got a Bronkenbucko. That's not the English term. A bucking bronco. We're in Omega phase. I think the issue there is inspiration for other games is good, but copy paste other games is a problem. I don't know if I'll read the rest of your statement. Can't wait to see the class changes and hopefully see more minimum uniqueness rather than because it was EQ. Yeah, I mean, you'll see a greater divergence in the class setup. Is it going to be completely divergent? No. And then, you know, a lot of times people are like, oh, you know, because it was EQ, and EQ was Tural Mud, and Tural Mud was D&D, and yeah, so, but no, there will definitely be a number of changes going in that feel that I think should feel a bit more specific to us. Now that is a look. Awesome. Can you describe Necromancer in 2 words? Joss's Death Touch said Bone Daddy. Helter Smelter said Life Tap. Can you set something up so you can swap our fast metabolism traits because it's now that's useless? We've got a number of things that are going to be happening with traits in the coming months, and then we'll. I don't know if we'll do it before then, but with the trait changes that are coming, we'll definitely provide an ability for you to reset them. We've been talking about trait progression now, so the ability to unlock and select more traits as you level. So as part of that, we'll also have it. And then there are a number of traits that we've looked at in general, even without the stamina changes, where we're like, is that worthwhile? So Ollie's got a lot of thoughts on traits. And I'm sure the guys will all be pitching in. You'll probably see more and more, kind of to your point though, Criddle. I think in the coming months, you're going to see a lot more kind of quirky RPG feeling stuff pop in. You're going to see, you know, differentiation in a few areas, but hey, Swanee. Have you thought about adding more passives to race choices? For example, gnomes learning tinkering faster. Yeah, we've definitely discussed it. Why are female ogres proportional and makes look like their legs couldn't hold up their body? I don't know, man. Those legs look pretty powerful to me. Those are powerful legs. Males. Oh, males. You know, they got that dad build. Cause you don't need to hit leg day when you got that upper body. They got that farmer strength. It doesn't need to. Those are legs of iron. They've got legs of iron and buns of steel. How would 80% of guys who only do upper body day walk IRL? Well, first of all, that feels targeted at me. Oh, there's a bug. Why is this horse pink? Leg day is a scam for Big Pharma. Don't skip leg day. Well, I don't know what happened here. So we're still working through some bugs. Pink horse and battle pass confirmed indeed. Male ogres modeled after Sean confirmed. Just the skinny legs. Sex 1981. Rabbit Wildly. Capco. Grimble Beekeeper. Guys, thanks for the follow. My Little Pony investment win. Yeah. Listen. We have bills to pay. Curious how your dev meetings go, like who attends, how often do you have them, what's your sequence of events? We don't have big meetings. We tend to just meet as people are available because we're spread across. We currently occupy time zones from Bahrain, which is 1 hour to my right. And so it is, if it's 1812 here, so it's 7 p.m. in Bahrain, 6 p.m. in Germany. We go all the way across our various people in Europe. And then we hit North America where the bulk of the team is. And then we travel all the way to Australia where we've got a couple more people. And yeah. And so for us, it's very, very async. And then we get together as people are able to hop into huddles. And we just kind of, we chat there. We don't have like stand-ups with everybody or big meetings. We've had, I think, I don't know, maybe 3 big meetings in 6 years, 5.5 years. Excuse me. Gloth Drogan said, I'm determined I'm never getting a key, so I just watch and envy. I'm sorry, man. Is there any way to make harvesting nodes targetable so that we know what we're running to? My personal belief is that it looks funky. That targeting the node is just kind of that's a weird one for me. How can we as testers help with itemization? Example, there's a piece of fairly high level loot, level 52 mob that is monk rogue that only has plus mana. As you report that stuff, it's we try to hop on it. So you can continue to slash report it. If you use the correct category and subcategories, it's easy for us to basically go through that list and see all of them. We just filter by that, and then we can go in and we can address those. When you guys are commenting on, hey Matilda, when you guys are commenting on, you know, some of the things that you see in Discord or whatever, that gets picked up on, and we make changes. Even if like Jahar doesn't see it directly, somebody on the team will often see it and then post it, like, hey, look at this funky item. Will the interiors of buildings, rooms in the city end up decorated sometime in the future? Yeah, decorations are going in. Decorations. It's like it's Christmas. Dungeon decorations. So we're continuing to prop out the city, but also keep in mind that a lot of what you're seeing is player housing. And so that's going to be decorated by you guys, both inside and out. Cactus Coder said, if you're not down with targeting nodes, can we at least get it in the text as to what it is? Like, you're not high enough to skill to harvest. It's an interesting, well, there's also been some interesting feedback about letting you attempt it, but like having it be extremely low. There's some back and forth on that, because then I guess people could also be exhausting those and not getting anything out of them. I was reading the thread that was posted by, I don't remember the name offhand, but there was a nice write-up on harvesting and trade skills in Discord that I've been following. So expect that we'll continue to mess around with harvest nodes, and there's a fair amount that'll be going on with trade skills in the coming months. But yeah, so ideally over time you'll be changing out the signs, doors. I'd like to make it so that these are attach points for like awnings. Potentially it's like some maybe other attach points for don't let any programmer hear this, but like art, not art, sorry, light, you know, like a little, is it a sconce, is it a torch? Window dressing. So you'll start to see different window dressing based off of what people swap out. People with porches and balconies and things like that will have volume like this. I'm pretty sure when we set it up, I wouldn't be shocked if this is defined as an outdoor volume where they could put some stuff that's sitting out here. And maybe some furniture stuff that's kind of, you know, sprucing the place up. You know, areas with courtyards like this will be, you know, they could be, there's a volume here. So we'll have to see. I don't know if they get a door or not here, but this is all one house if I'm not mistaken, so they can have a lot of stuff there. Can you sell stuff in the front of your house too? Yep, you can turn your house over time. The hope is something we'll be working on, that this could just be your guild hall. It could be your guild hall, but it could also be a guild hall that allows people to come in and use like certain trade skill stations. You can set up like a little dive bar. You could set up something. I know Mimi's really into selling and trade skills and stuff. And so like you can set up potentially these booths that you can rent out to people. We've got a lot of plan. We want to find as many ways to, through the trade skills and the progression of like selling. So like the merchant progression, and the transportation sort of progression. We really want people to feel like they have an opportunity to do stuff like that, like have their own shop or have their own, you know, like a storage depot, a place where, you know, this person's just got like a shitload. They always have tons of ore and stuff like that. And then maybe somebody next door has got like a little blacksmith shop. So have you seen WoW's new house decorating? They've got so many assets to use too. It's like they've got so much that they can use in there. Does Unity play nice when it comes to this stuff? So far, I think so. I haven't heard anything contrary. There's a lot of like, we'll be keeping an eye on how much just sort of inventory explodes. Data associated with a given account kind of explodes over time. So we'll be tracking that. And the other thing is just, we're going to be very focused on performance and ensuring that as we add all this stuff in, that occlusion's working very well and it's not, you know, negatively impacting performance. So, but yeah, the hope is that as cities start to, as the server matures, cities start to take on their own personality. But over time, even if it's not in by EA, over time on the way to 1.0, we really want to do, we want to continue to add in just like cool functionality. Now, some of that is going to be perceived as we make the changes. Trade skillers' heads are going to explode. People who are into harvesting, their heads are going to explode, like with the weight changes that we made recently to like ore weight and stuff. And then the hope is once all the brains dry, that people look and go, wow, there's actually a progression path here. Like I can start out as the guy that, you know, I'm always going out when I'm playing on my play account. You know, I really just love when I can only pop in for an hour or off hours or whatever. I like harvesting and just like I'll fill my bank and then I'll find somebody that's looking to buy like 10 stacks of wood or whatever. And that's how I make a little side money with the low level characters. The idea is like, can that be a progression path? So over time, I use that to sort of build up both clientele, but also, you know, connections. Because there's people now that I'm like, hey, do you need any more wood? Or, you know, they hit me up if they're like, they need ore or something like that. And then, all right, now I have a cart. I can stack more of it on there locally. Then I have a pack animal. And then I upgrade the pack animals like storage or carrying capacity. And then I go out and I'm like loading in a ton of ore and coming in. So, you know, that's been the thought. It may turn out to be like bullshit paper design or something like that. But the hope is to really continue to allow people to feel like they have a role in the world with some different specialization. And that's going to require us to constantly kind of look at our trade skills and refactor things. And yeah, we know there are some bugs. There are some bugs right now with permissions. Now, if you walk into somebody's house and steal all their stuff, that's not great. So we're working on that right now. Matt in QA's got a nice big write-up on permission issues. Have we ever reached out to the guys at Unity? Has there been anything specific that they have had to do you with? As to my knowledge, this is Unity's first MMO. I don't think we're Unity's first MMO. Is Pantheon Unity? I thought there were... I mean, there's a lot of games out there. But to answer your question, yeah, we've talked to the Unity guys. You know, a number of times. We've been in like little group calls with them. Ollie's been just fantastic about just being on top of stuff. So it was funny. We hopped in a call with a few Unity guys, and they were like, hey, have you tried this? And Ollie was like, yep, I tried that. I also read these 2 white papers on this other thing, and I tried those, and then I did this, and then it wound up, you know, being a thing that it was nice and reassuring because we were swapping notes. We weren't just like having them tell us what we're doing wrong. It was they had a lot of like, they pointed out stuff and we're like, yep, we've tried that. And Ollie did have some, you know, feedback for them of like, hey, you should check this. And so it's been, you know, in that regard, it's been a decent back and forth. Naturally, as we add stuff, sometimes we break things and people are like, oh man, the server, you know, it's funny. We went through that big inventory refactor, which led to lag, and then we fixed that lag. And right as we fixed that lag, we had actually introduced something intentionally. It was like a new feature. I'm going to air quotes feature. We introduced something in tech, and then we're sitting there and we couldn't figure out why. Because we're looking at the server the last week or so, and tech guys, let me know if I'm wrong on this, but we're looking at the server and we're just like, man, the server's actually looking really good right now. But people are still like, there's lag with 50 people in the zone, like, or 40 people in Fallen Pass or whatever. Like, what is this? And then there, you know, like there was a Cloudflare issue when we made the comment about that. Like everything for me was loading up slow. Like images weren't showing on Discord. Slack was slow. We're just like, what the shit? And so it's like, okay, well, we think there's a general internet issue. And then we post that, and then that went away, and our stuff's still lagging. People are like, oh, Cloudflare. And it's like, all right, yeah, you got us. And then Ollie, I think before bed, when did he fix it? Friday morning, because yeah, then we ran the lottery. Like, so Thursday night, I guess before bed, Ollie was like, oh, dude, I think I know what it is. And then fixed it, pushed a build, and hopefully you're not seeing lag. So far, it's been good. Flying Killer, can you shoot me a DM? That's one of those things that pops up every once in a while, but it hasn't popped up enough recently that it slipped off my mind. Sigu TV said, yeah, it's been great now. Yeah, it was something where Ollie went, oh man, I know what it is. Pluck. Build. Fixed. It was just like, oops. So. Do you know what he had to do? I do, but given the nature of what it was, I'm not going to state it. If Ollie wants to comment on it or whatever, then he can. But what's up, Fat Matt? It was a bit of functionality that we added, and like we added it, and so, oh, just murder. And so when we pulled it back out, then it was like, all right, cool. And somebody just, Tsunami-san, yeah, the clarification there. Lag no, but latency to the server has been bad. Yeah. Murdering poachers right now, no lag. Was it a corpse inventory issue? It was not. Really curious about race restrictions regarding housing and assets. It's gonna be more of a factional question than it is race. I've got a lot of housing to fix as well. So if you guys are in beta and you're messing with housing, and your housing, especially in Sage side, isn't working, I have a huge list of bugs to fix. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning. Sometimes that little bit of functionality you think will be great bites you in the butt. Yeah, this was just it was just a thing that we had put in for a specific reason, and we're trying something out, and then I think it just kind of like slipped off the radar. Is Evershade going to get housing? Oh, I see what you're saying, Chrono. Evershade, yeah, is getting housing. And so Chrono is saying, no, I mean, Wood Elf assets in Night Harbor, for example. It will be you'll be able to use, like, I don't think you're going to swap out the door, for example, or like awning and stuff like that. But you know how I was talking about how you can have something in your courtyard or balcony or something like that. Then I'm fairly certain that that'll be fine. We'll have to look at like memory budget and things of that nature and see if the way that we are handling like pulling these things out of the world and bringing them back, layman's terms. You know, how we're loading some of these assets and stuff based on sphere of influence. If that allows us to have like a bigger budget for those. But in terms of like just the, you know, intent wise, like, no, I think it would be cool. I think it'd be really cool to like go by somebody's place and see that they've got like a different, you know, they have some different furniture or whatever. But I don't know that it's going to be, you know, full window treatments or doors or anything of that nature. Do you have any examples of a house with assets built out that you could show us? I don't have like a model home, but that's actually a really good idea. Like, can we set up like a model home? And that would be good for testing as well. Let me write that down. Yeah, IKEA. Poor Zukin. Zukin used to model furniture. He might have been a model as well, but Zukin used to model furniture and stuff in a past life. Ask him about it next stream. Dude 43, Thorston 24, Xerus, Oximus, Sigu TV, Xanthra. Thank you. Yeah, that pause. Thank you for the follows. Let me write this down. Set up model home. Set up model home in Night Harbor. I need to AFK for like 2 minutes. This half liter of coffee has gone through me. That's probably too much information. I'll be right back. Hold on. Where's my be right back? There it is. Yeah, Hamad did that. Be right back. Sometime in the coming months, I'll probably work a little bit on stream production values and get a little bit fancier. Was there a timeline for when Underdocs will be on beta? Assume that's first. We'll be able to give you a timeline shortly. We've been going through and locking all of that into milestones and stuff. We'll try to communicate that a bit better. Been watching all Chinny stuff he's owning. Yeah. So have you seen AV then? When I was walking up and down stairs, Fat Matt, my wife mentioned, she was like, I don't know if you saw it, but Fat Matt loves spaghetti. Said that, is the team aware that spaghetti is amazing and so are you? We appreciate it. I don't know if you guys already talked about class revisions. Can you tell us a bit more about what you guys are thinking around that? Sigu, I don't want to overstep, but I know that the write-ups have been passed over to our editor, Loki. And he, last I checked, and I think it was a couple days ago, he had gone through half of them, and he's just knocking out the rest. So he's just kind of like doing a quick edit pass. What we're thinking for the class documentation, like the revision documents, we're thinking about putting those on the website, probably. So what we may do, and this will be news to like Goblin and other folks on the team, because we were just talking about it the other day, and I don't think we had like gone broad with the discussion. But the team has seen the changes, and they've gone through the proposed changes, revisions, and the documentation. I think for a lot of you, you'll probably see some of it and go, okay, no shocker there or whatever. Hopefully you find that the time that we've spent like putting it together, it feels well spent. So I'd be very curious to see what your reactions are on that. Having been a part of the like behind the scenes process before we kicked it out to the team, like there was a lot of, it's really noisy here. Let me move. Buff Central. There was a lot of just analysis of the various pieces and, intent and stuff. So, a lot of thought did go into it, and I'm hoping that you guys are into the recommendations there. So we were thinking for the classes, basically on this class page, breaking it into a list of classes. And then each class will have its own page, because there's a lot of information. Like you see this info, there'll be a block sort of describing, this is what we picture as kind of like the high level vision for it, along with what's changing, what's staying the same, and other information. So in a perfect world, we'd be able to give you like all of the abilities we're thinking about and all that stuff. That stuff's being worked on. I don't know how much of that's going to be a part of the post. But the hope is to get you these overviews sooner rather than later. And like I said, to me, it feels like we're in the final little stage of Loki is going through and doing an actual edit pass. And so then the next step would be to post links to individual pages and just make a page for every class that then has all that information, because it'll be a fair amount of information relative to what you're seeing here. At a minimum, the thing that I do know is what we have now is a very clear starting point for us. If we find that there's like, 99% of the community looks at this class and is like, why are you doing that? And there's a unanimous sort of like call to make it blue instead of red, and we look at it and go, yeah, actually, shit, we missed that. That makes sense. We have what is now a very clear starting point for us of all the information we need to be able to manage changes a lot easier. So that's my take on it, at least. Is there anywhere we can see the planned items to work on for each class? By items, do you mean like just the work that needs to be done? Not like actual items, right? Why is the wiki locked down? That's another thing that I've got to follow up with the team on. When we were doing closed beta, in a way where it was a smaller group. So for closed alpha and closed beta, we had asked people in alpha and beta to please not basically sit there and farm information to pump into the wiki yet, for a couple of reasons. One, it seemed unfair that then they would be the ones getting all the wiki updates. Two, there's just a lot of stuff that's in flux and going to be changing anyway. As we have expanded beta with the lottery and have just more and more people that are playing in the beta, then I don't know if that holds up as much. I've heard and understand like the counter argument of, well, then that's gatekeeping and that's those people are farming information that's not being shared with the world and that's going to give them an advantage. But that's the nature of some people getting the test and other people not. So that's kind of where we were with it. I need to mention to the team. Let me make another note. Like, do we ask the question? Do we care at this point if people are updating the various wikis? So, Chrono said, idea for the future. I loved in Lord of the Rings Online that I could grab an instrument, set my keyboard up as a MIDI controller, and literally play music live in towns. People would tip me, and it was a great experience. Any chance we can get that in M&M? I think it's been discussed in the past as like a future, would this be cool kind of thing. In a nearer term, you may see that we're trying to find ways for, there to be more non-combat social benefits associated with like being a bard, etc. Star Wars Galaxies has definitely been one of the inspirations. They did some really great stuff. Dice card games on boats, placeable in house and ends for sure. It's on the list. It's just like if we roll out a really awesome set of board games right now, people are going to be like, first you started giving PvP some love. Now you're making dice games and taverns. Why haven't you fixed? And then it's just like an infinite list of shit that we haven't done. Can I confirm or deny SK's losing pets? I can do neither of those things. Wait for the posts. Lauren Dredge, Dude 43, Thorsome 24. Did I already thank you guys for the follows? Dude, making an MMO is you're chipping away a massive mountain of stuff to do. Model Y guy says, will the keys remain 50-50 PvE, PvP? Seems there are a lot of PvE players playing on PvP just because they want to play, but won't be PvP on release. You never know. They may once they've tasted of the forbidden fruit and found that it wasn't as bad as they thought. We may be converting a whole generation of new PvP players. I play on PvP. It's fun. Sometimes hopping on the PvE character is like, oh, you know, this is nice, but it's kind of... It's not as dangerous. Kilmaro, thank you for the follow. There have definitely been some incidents, you know, there's some wacky stuff that does happen on PvP, but I will say that at low levels, if you come in and you're not getting just repeatedly murdered on one of those, you know, nights where it's going on or whatever, people are very quick to buff low levels, and it's very social. And when you do find a group of people that are cool, then you're like, you friend them, and it's, I don't know, it's been cool. Gloth, if you want to hit me with the DM, I'll be happy to provide you some feedback. Azayazan said leashing range feels short on some things. Consider it just very not in the state that it needs to be at the moment. The leashing stuff is very much a work in progress. It just went in. We haven't had a chance to like go through and look at mobs and behavior. The reality is we just didn't test it very much, if at all. So we got it. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Sorry. I don't want to say if at all, like the QA. I don't want to speak for the QA guys and then have them be like, you know, upset. So I'm not saying they didn't do their job. It went in and it was one of those things where like going through the checklist of let's get this in, let's get the other stuff in. Okay, it's in, good. And sometimes we don't think about the fact that like beta isn't like our own private little test server. Sometimes it's like, hey, let's just put it out there and then it'll be broken for a few days or whatever, and then we'll fix it, or you know, hey, they'll be okay for, and then it's like newsflash. We look out and there's like a new series of videos that have appeared. Like, oh shit. No, we were just throwing it on there for a moment. We'll fix it in a bit. Bugged harvesting nodes. I have to ask where the fix is on that. I know we're aware of it. I thought it was gonna be fixed by now, but I don't know what happened there. So we'll get them fixed. We're definitely aware of them. I've run into them as well. Okay, so on your question, sorry, I just like rambled and went right off the edge of the map. So let me scroll back up. Model Y guy. I don't think the keys are going to stay 50-50 PvP, because the reality is we're running out of people who signed up for PvP. No write-up on PvP plans at the moment. I will say that we've been, I don't think it's oversharing. I think I can say this. We've been working with someone who is very, who's been PvP focused and is able to wrangle things for us, both as a designer and developer. And so we've got some stuff brewing on that side of things, and people are going to be like, oh, how dare you put any effort into PvP. Guys, it's worthwhile. And we're bringing in a person specific for this, not just you know, taking somebody that was doing other stuff and then putting on. So, and the work has been awesome. Communication's been good, and so I see that as a pretty positive thing. So if you're gonna do something, let's try to do it right. Can you give a date on when class reworks start rolling? Well, the next step is to just get the information out to you guys, which a couple people said they came in late and were wondering about that. Aether Phalanx asked about that. Yeah, I was just talking about the fact that what we're hoping to do very soon. I think we're in a spot where we can do it fairly soon, but I don't want to speak for the guys. It is in our editor's hands right now, and he's going through and just checking stuff and making it pretty. And so what I was saying is, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to the class page and we're going to list all the classes, and then we're going to, because there's a lot of information, we're going to break them into individual pages. So it'll have the beautiful goblin art, and then a breakdown of kind of what's going on with them as our first sort of pitch to you guys. So and to me, like, it feels like we're in a good spot to do that, but I need to check with the guys and see how much like additional detail they're hoping to provide, because they may be wanting to like provide more example abilities and things like that. But I think that what's there, you know, based on the reading, has I think it conveys pretty well. It'd be very, you can't wait. I think we're kind of excited to see what the response is as well. It could be that, you know, you guys like it, think it's wacky, don't think it's much of a change, think, you know, the hope is that you just find very specific things where you're like, I would do this differently, or I would like to have this instead of that, or I really hate that you did X, but, and then we can look at those points and discuss them. Please make Spell Blade great again. Well, the concept of the Spell Blade that we're discussing, I think, is really cool. But I could say that about, you know, all the classes. Keyframe said, you mentioned new servers opening up for EA, then 1.0, etc. Is the vision for people to kind of have forever characters they stick with long term, or encourage new starts when new servers roll out? Hopefully you guys have forever characters. And then later on, you're kind of, you know, wanting to, we're trying to be a very alt friendly game. I think it was a Penny Loafer. I think her video was getting into that. But like, we want to be alt friendly. So the hope is that when 1.0 hits, it's a fresh start. You've got new servers. You set up a lot of your forever characters there. But then when we hit maybe halfway to 1.0, and definitely when we hit 1.0, we can bring servers up and all of that content will be available day one. All of the racial cities, all of those starting quests, all of those regions. And it'll feel a lot different than the evolution that you've been playing. And so the hope is that a lot of people are into the idea of setting up at least a second character. So Liz said, please, can you make it so I can make a guild and invite my alts into it without needing other people? That's a good feature request. You should make sure that we don't miss that. Make a note. Keyframe, you're welcome. Kumidar, I just saw Caranthia's name and I realized you said something earlier if you're still out there. Sorry that I missed you when you came in. Hey, Derelict. Ixar Shadow Knight said, is there any way us non-devs can support you or help with the dev process anyway? The best thing you can do is continue to be nice in the community. Be kind members of the community. Just be nice and spread the word. You guys have been insanely good about spreading the word. Thank you so much. You've saved us a ton on marketing. Klaus Dorden. I didn't miss you earlier. I saw you and I meant to say hi and I was rambling. So, if you're still out there, buddy, good to see you. Red Saba, Kilmorrow, Lauren Dredge. If I haven't said thank you for the follows, thank you. Gore STL said, hey Sean, in houses are there or will there be crafting benches tools? Yeah, we actually hope to do a lot on that front. Because the hope is that not only do you have ability to set up like crafting equipment for yourself in some of these houses, but there will be incentives for you to have some interesting crafting stations and stuff that you can open your own little like crafting shop. Are you at all worried about twinking power leveling ruining the group focus of the game when it comes to alts? I'm not horribly worried personally. I might be underestimating it. It's a topic that comes up and we've talked about things like to what degree should we limit power on twinks? What mechanisms should we use to do that? Like, should gear have level requirements? If so, how much gear? What gear? You know, this also then gets back into how much gear should have no drop versus be tradable. So that conversation is going to be one that's ongoing, but the reality is it's fun to twink, and I think the overall impact, you know, because people point out the negative impacts of twinking, I think there's also benefits to it, at least when I've played on older servers in the past. I've been in suboptimal groups with twinks where we're able to hold down certain camps that we wouldn't otherwise be able to hold down. I don't know that I've run into many situations where I've run into somebody that was twinking or somebody that was, potentially getting like out of group heals from, somebody that was higher level or on a server that allowed boxing, their alternate box or something like that. And I don't think I can remember vivid instances of being denied a group or not benefiting from it in some way. So yeah, it's just one of those things that we're going to continue to go back and forth on. We've got, we've got mixed feelings on it, so we'll just continue to talk about it. Yeah, it's interesting. Would we rather introduce mercenaries into the game or allow for twinks to help carry a underpowered group? I think the latter. But yeah, I mean, it's a big conversation. We won't get to the bottom of it. And I know there are a lot of like different nuances to that question that I'm not hitting on here. If you received a PvP beta key, you should still be in the PvE lottery pool. How Birdier? That is the intent. If that is not happening for some reason, then it's a bug that we'd have to fix, but that is the intent. And I can quadruple check with Swanee on that. Hey, is anybody from the team looking to stream today? One of the things I was thinking about, and we don't have to start on stream, but I'll mention it in our Slack. I'd like to get a more regular static group going. Like, I'd like to get a regular static group going, even if we've got a mix of tunes and stuff. I'd like to get a regular static group going on the weekends with the team, and then if we're finding that it's pretty, if it's pretty regular, then maybe we'll stream it as well. Criddle said, I think there's an issue where once you have the PvP access, something changes on a website where it no longer shows you're opted in for PvE. Let me just clip this really quick and put that in my inquiry. Thank you. Will that apply to the friend invites as well? Their PvE lottery. Ooh. Let me double check. They should still be eligible. Hi, Todd. I'll look into it again. Alright, so I'll check into a couple of these things related to that topic. How large is the pool of potential beta players currently opted in? I'd like to know exactly how bad my odds are. That was from Idris. Or is it Dries? Sigacker? Why a lottery versus first come first serve? What do you mean by first come first serve? And then how it just I'll just say the lottery just seemed like a fair way to do it, to be honest. And the problem with fair is not everybody wins. You know, and it's a bummer. Like, it really is honestly truly a bummer when people are sad that they're not able to get in, because we're sad you're not able to get in as well, right? But like, the only way to fix that is to let everybody in all the time, and the only way to do that is to like go into early access. And oh, you're saying if I opted in 2 months ago versus someone who opted in a day before Friday. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with the fairness part of it. I don't know if that's something we can address. It really gets into like how much effort do we wind up spending on trying to make the best lottery system versus like working on the game. But I'll make a note. Drez Igaker. Is the E or Drez Igaker? That sounds like Dutch or South African or something. Long E. Drez Igaker. I'm still messing it up, I feel like. Buckwheat said, I understand, I was just curious. And they're fair questions. Hopefully I come off a bit. Yeah. Sometimes I come off a bit. I don't mean it. I think it was originally German. It feels more Dutch. If it was German, then I think it would be... The first word would be Dreis. Because the E is before the I, so... Dreis Igaka. I would think. But I'm also not a German expert. I just occasionally speak it. Yeah, we've been doing 500 invites with 500 friends. And who knows? You never know what that number may be in the future. Somebody asked how many people do we have in the pool? The pool is basically, it's been kind of staying around 18,000, 18,500. So that's the reality of it. There's a decent number of people trying to get in. So we keep running 500s and people keep opting in, that's very cool. It's like we're very thankful for that there's that interest. We're, well, I mean, EA, so Classic Cool said, so EA launch might see 30 to 40K easy. It really just depends on if people, do people get in, they play a bunch and they burn out? They want to wait for later. How many people get in and find that it's not for them? We'll be looking at those numbers and stuff. Since we're pretty open about our numbers. I can say that. Let me check that opt-in and make sure. Okay, no, actually, the opt-in is at 17,500. What are you doing live so early? Trying to get out of here in a timely manner to eat some pizza. Ali, what's going on, buddy? Timeline for Deep to be playable for beta. We may make them playable before their areas are available. I've had a long day. Ali, I had to get up at regular time. And then go basically lug wheelbarrows full of gravel to help fill potholes at the garden. So I got there at 9 a.m. We left at something like, I don't know, 1 or 2. So I'm hungry. I feel like I've earned my carbs. Yeah, it was a fun day for sure. Is the 17,000 including all the people who already got keys? No, it's only the people who haven't gotten keys so far. And then there's always like the questions of how many of them are bots and this and that. We do a few things to help weed out that and prevent it. both prevent it and then weed it out. So, does the team have an ideal concurrent player count per server for EA? I would think with the 4 starting areas coming online, I would say, Ollie, do you think like you know, something like around 2,000 concurrent once people get out of the newbie yard per server? Does that seem okay? I'm just like I haven't sat down and really done the math. Yeah, and that because with 1,000 concurrent on Rel during a 10 or 12 day playtest, we had 6,600 unique players. MAU is monthly active users. So Ali said 8,000 to 12,000 MAU per server. So the thinking is if we've got, 1,500 or 2,000 daily active or concurrents, then we're probably going to have, minimum 2 to probably 4 times that number. It tends to be like 4 times that number of daily active users or daily active players. So I would actually say that if we can support 1,500 to 2,000 concurrent, then I wouldn't be shocked if we see something like 6,000 to 8,000 unique players on a server that day. And then you do a multiple of that again for your monthly active user count. So like I said, if you look at Rel during the 12-day playtest, just Rel alone had 6,600 unique players on it. Would you want something higher as more zones come online? Yeah. So by the time we hit 1.0, it would be nice to have, then we're looking at something like 15 or 20,000 players on a server, I think is doable. Be sure to quote me on that and explain why that's so crazy or whatever. But just think of the scope of the world being much, much bigger. And I think for the world to feel alive and lived in, we'll probably see something like that. So then the question is, well, what happens if you only have 10,000 players? Well, then, over time we can consolidate the servers down probably and in terms of interest, let's see, Control K. We're going to, if I had to guess, I need to confirm with Ollie when we want to time the wipe of the launch server poll and make it like the home server clicky, the home server initiative. But right now, just with this old page that we've had, without updating it with the server names and things like that, you can see our servers. So far, 11,000 people have actually clicked the launch server poll as it currently stands. And so I think it's unfair to say PvE West 1 is accurate because that was like the only option for a while and then people clicked it and they never come back and changed it. But interesting things that we could see is, 1,000 people on the PvP server have clicked it. Goblin, to your earlier point, I think a PvP RP server would be cool if we had the people for it. EU is at 1,500 people. PvE 3 is probably going to be East Coast. So yeah, and in terms of accounts, we don't, of course, we've got to go through and look at like how valid all the accounts are, etc. But right now we have 85,000 registered accounts. So, and again, a number of them have churned. Some of them may be multiple accounts that people have. We know, there are people out there who have made, 6, 7 accounts using their guild invites that they were handed a bunch of. In one instance, that was interesting to see. Somebody took a big chunk of guild invites and then invited a bunch of his alt accounts. Some of this, it's been interesting watching some of the behavior. It's been interesting watching some of the behavior of certain players and certain guilds and stuff. But it's fun to watch. Pause. We have been observing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my stomach is growling so much right now. I hope you can't hear it. You would be much higher, but barely anyone in the EU knows this game exists, and due to limited access playtest, people who know about it aren't very interested in waiting for access. Just get wiped in a few months. Yeah, honestly, guys, our plan was never to come out of the gate with like... Okay, that was odd. On the same note, I feel like cracking down more on boxing may be needed, Criddle said. Well, if you're seeing people boxing, report them. We crack down as we spot it. We do get a number of false complaints on boxing. But just keep reporting it. Just like botting, as we spot it either in our tools or if somebody reports it, we take care of it pretty quickly. Hey, Scheiden. Harlow Bree, Retail Rat. Thank you for the follows. In terms of like people knowing about the game at launch, at this stage, I would say if the people that we have in the community, yes, that is the issue. Hard to know for sure, but it's definitely happening. Are you saying that because you're doing it, Criddle? Criddle's like, I know for sure people are boxing and doing bad stuff. I'm like, I don't know. We try to catch everybody. You're not catching everybody. But we've caught most people. You haven't caught everybody. Trust me. I'm like, Criddle, what are you doing? What are you doing, Criddle? He's like the guy that comes back to the fire. I'm just kidding, Griddle. Or am I? I like seeing the additional ships move around. And I didn't say, okay, cool. Be nice to Criddle. Don't pick on Criddle. You guys, sometimes you guys pick on each other and I don't feel comfortable with it. You stated you want to be off the radar during early development. When will you actually start some form of marketing and what would that look like? We don't have any plans for marketing. We don't have any plans for marketing, like, you know, in a traditional sense. We want to, to be in early access and stable and all of that stuff. We're not looking to, you know, have like a big bang kind of. I think it's also different. Like if we were only charging, you know, if we're just charging a box price and we weren't subscription based, then it makes sense to try to get as many people as quickly as possible, I guess. I don't know. I even then I don't think it makes sense. We want to get enough people to make our servers feel not empty, and then we want to continue to improve the game, and then over time just have more people hop in. Criddle has good valid points. He does. Yeah, I'm not picking on Criddle. And we appreciate the fact that we've got people like Criddle who are making good content and talking about the game and have communities, and it's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know what we were picturing when we started this 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. But I can tell you it wasn't, it didn't look like this necessarily. The game's bigger, prettier, more fun. I don't know. I think we always thought we were going to make a fun game, even with the capsules, but, and has like a much like bigger and engaged community than I think we imagined, for sure, than we imagined at this point in development. So, Isan, I did not say hi to you when you came in. What's going on, Isan? Dude, look at how rad some of these people look. Every time I'm in playing, I'm just like, I'm amazed at the stuff that I see. And all of this stuff is stuff that like we're continuing to refine, you know, with the hair and beards and stuff. But some of the outfits are so badass. A lot of elves all of a sudden. Your character looks like a cockroach. Are you happy about that? Was that your intent? I mean, the guys have done such impressive work, and you know. And I'll be honest with you. I've been trying to sneak in. I've been just trying to more and more, especially now that the time we've got a little bit more time. Like I've been trying to like get in and you know, get an hour or two each day, and just I was telling my wife this, like, just logging in and playing. It's like, I know the behind the scenes, watched how the sausage was made, but there's something about once I'm in and playing, like I forget about all that, and I'm just in the world, and I'm having a great time, and I'm making my little bit of progress. And look, oh, halflings, especially like halflings, female halflings, dude, halflings have just been, when I see halflings in plate lately, I'm just like, and little gnomes, and giant ogres, the dwarves. It definitely nails the, you know, we were always talking about, we wanted to look as much like a, you know, people like to compare us to, like, well, why doesn't this look like EQ? Or, so we get called, in the YouTube comments, we get called EQ clone, WoW clone, and it's just like, dude, to me, this is really, it took us a little while to get there, but it's really capturing like the fantasy painting, the old fantasy painting look. Have you guys considered selling physical game boxes? If we have the cash to do it in the future, it's on our list of like the things that we want to do. Like for us, that's a stretch goal. Like if enough people like the game, then we want to be able to sell you guys a box with maps and trinkets in it and stuff like that. Hearing rumors there are bots in M&M now. EQOA Nostalgia, thank you for the video on Here Come the Bots. There was a bot yesterday who was spotted, immediately dealt with by CS. It was somebody who was upfront about it. It was in the name. They had AI in the name. They're just trying to train an AI model with the game. They had reached out before in DMs, and I said, this isn't the environment for it. People will be upset, and we don't have the ability to support that. But this individual had their bot in game. It was immediately discovered, dealt with, and banned. And then it's like, I hear there's a bot infestation now. There have been bots throughout the, there have been, that YouTube video is trending right now. Of course it is. It's like, EQOA, I love you. I love you, buddy. But like, yeah, there's always a drama. It's the drama du jour. Yeah, so now there's a bot problem, I guess. Bots are always going to be present, and we're always going to be working to take them out. And I really do like Eco and Nostalgia, so there are always going to be bots, and we're always going to be discovering them in different ways. Mostly because you guys are a bunch of narcs and rats, and we love you for it. We're going to if you guys have filed a petition, in the past, most of the time you see that we like have a tendency to try to get to you pretty quickly, and we try to get to those reports pretty quickly as well. People that are boxing when they're not supposed to be, we get on them as well. You know, we've talked to a lot of people about keystroke automation, though we also understand there's a certain discussion to be had about accessibility there and stuff like that, right? I think we provide as good a customer service, if not better, than a lot of games that are live in our beta. So I don't know. Bot reporting reward program incoming. Oh, you guys love telling on each other. I don't want to prevent it. I don't want you to stop, but there is a lot of love for communicating what's going on. This guy looks cool. Yeah, the GMs have been doing a fantastic job. We've got really good coverage now as well. We try to have coverage pretty much around the clock these days. Is your spouse boxing or potting? They are traitors to the cause. Do your parts. Would you like to know more? We should do propaganda posters. GM Tucker's helping you right now? Awesome. Does the team have data for hardcore players? No, but we could probably get it. Alright guys, it is 7:30. Pinamu said, I haven't had a suck petition take longer than 10 minutes. That's awesome. Uvu. So it's Uvu for Urvu. Oh my gosh, this name. Uvu Vuruvu Jujitsu. No, it's not Jujitsu. I chunked that. Jututu Inu. Okay. Thank you for the follow. I'm going to work on that name. I like to get them right. Look at this guy. Sacer69, thanks for the follow. Oh man, he looks serious. But Donkey. That's right up there with Hall & Oates. Loot Hoarder. I don't think donkeys should be allowed in the bank. Angelic Soul. Oh man, you guys have me hyped to sneak in some more playtime. That donkey's got the platinum walk. How loaded down is that donkey? Where is that donkey going? Oh, most likely needs food and isn't loaded down. Criddle, that's a great point. That is a great point. What? Feed that donkey. Donkey dehydrated. Oh man. Now I feel bad. Question on any beta key release soon? There will be another release of keys on Friday. Sorry, just reading. Do you think the game will offer name changes in the future? We want your name to be... we want you to be stuck with your name and your reputation as much as possible for as long as possible. Okay, so... Oh, well, items have an origin identifier. Purchase crafted in Night Harbor, so if you take it to Fell and Draw on a wagon, you can trade stuff for more. Maybe. And there may be opportunities for, like, crafter name. Some stuff like that. There will be more trade skill discussion happening in the coming weeks. Eurohini TV, hallo, wie geht's? Thanks, Wolfster. Wolfster said, hey robot, loving how this game's shaping up. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. Is this the is it open this weekend? It is not. This is just closed testing in action. Right, Shield. So how many people do we have streaming at the moment? Do we have an order picked out? I'm waiting to start for you to wrap up. Go ahead and start then. Because I'm hungry. I want pizza. Melody Von Torture, hello. I didn't see you sneak in before. Shadow Slug said, hello, love your game. Can't wait. Can't wait to see what all gets added in future release. We're excited about the stuff that's going to be coming online. A lot of stuff's going to be happening in the next few months. What are your favorite pizza toppings? Right now, I had a really great pizza last week that was just salami, mushrooms, and olives. And I want to recreate that experience in my mouth again this week. So I'm going to try that again and see. And the pizza in Germany is it can be pretty good. Barbecue chicken pizza. They've got a lot of Criddle. They've got a lot of weird varieties here. Send them ZBrush. I'm doing boring stuff, Goblin said. Okay. Classic cool. I see what you just did there. Derelict's going to be streaming as well. So we've got Goblin streaming. ZBrush is going to be streaming. I'm going to raid him. Derelict will be streaming animation. And I don't know who else is going to be streaming tonight or this weekend. But keep an eye out. Make sure that you've... if you're not in our Discord where you can have the notification set for streaming, just keep an eye out for... Oh, this guy looks cool. Keep an eye out for our channel in Twitch. East Punk, it is possible for that to happen. You guys stick around long enough for the raid to happen. As soon as ZBrush is up. Yeah, ZBrush, Goblin, and Derelict on a call would be a fun time for you guys as well. This guy needs some sun. Faded into Secrecy says, see you later and thanks for the stream. I haven't touched the game on purpose, but we've looked at it a bit through Criddle streams. Don't miss October 1st date because I really want to sub and get started. Now, we really want to get started as well. And I know, you know, people are like, yeah, well, you said that last time. We really, really do. But it made more sense for us to try to hit this date instead. What class am I? Well, my GM, this character is an enchanter because he's so charismatic. Class I'm having fun with at the moment. Been enjoying Inquisitor. Liz Biscuit said, hugs to all the team. I love playing. I've only sent in like 6 bugs since last patch. I need to check your actual bug count. It's gonna... I bet it's through the roof. Inquisitor will be getting a second race. When the Deep Elves come online, there will be 2 Inquisitor races. Feel like that's a dare. I'm fairly certain you've already got... Wait a second. Did I just pass through that? Can I not climb that? How about an open weekend? Any plans for that? The first week of May. We'll get the dates posted. Will we see Module 1 races in beta before EA starts? Yes, you will. And you may see Module 1 races in beta before their areas are available. Oh, sorry, June. First week of June. Shit. First week of June. I have May on my mind. First week of June. Shit. Sorry. Klaus. Earmuffs. I'm cursing. Oh. I can't believe I just did that. Clipped and shipped. Yeah. Okay. Good luck getting in. June. Yeah, I'm starving to death. It's not fair. You're not allowed to... There goes all the Reddit and Discord posts. Yeah. Criddle, please make a video to set them straight. Is Z brushed up? EQA nostalgia, you better not. Okay, cool. Let's raid ZBrush then. Can't believe I just said May. Oh. Dang it. All right, guys. As soon as this raid locks in, we're going to go. I want you to have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. And thanks for being here. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. And give ZBrush some love. Stick around for other streams. We'll have other people on the team streaming today and probably this weekend. So check it out. All right. Rating now. You guys have a great one.